Hey everyone, it's Jeremy here, and I'm going to walk through with you how I do the work that I do. I'm going to create a widget from start to finish and just show every step that I take when a client asks me to build a widget for them. I'm not going to stop and talk about each one of them. I'm just going to mention what it is. But I will point to documentation in the community and in the JSN FM course that explains what I'm doing much better. So buckle up, have fun with me, and let's do some work here. What I'm going to do is create a JavaScript chart. I found this library called Plotly and never used it before, but apparently it will create charts for me. It looks like this, and it looks actually pretty simple. So I'm going to explore this, and we'll just build a quick widget that shows how this is done. So here we are in the development environment. Actually, we're not in development environment yet. We have to set that up. So I'm in VS Code, and I'll just use the terminal here to create a widget. So down there at the bottom here, there's the terminal, and I'll type in the command at integrating magic. Hey, it's Jeremy here, and as I'm looking at this, I realized that I did not change directory into the folder that I really wanted this to be in. I put this on my main hard drive, and that was a mistake. I always need to cd into the directory where I want this to be located. So just ignore the fact that I didn't do that. You do that yourself if you're following along with me. All right, let's get back to it. /create JSFM widget, and it's going to ask me some questions. What am I going to call this? Plotly JS. There we go, and I'll just use regular JS, and we'll use the JS dev, and we want to initialize. Okay, so now it's set up and ready for me to work. I'm going to follow the instructions that are on here. Plotly JS, and code. Open it up in code. All right. So let's get that over here where we can see it. There we go. All right, so we have everything installed. Actually, we have the base installed, actually, not everything, just the base. But I'm going to follow the directions of what Plotly says to do. So the first thing we need to do is install it. There's a couple ways to install it. I can do an npm, I can use the CDN, and I can download the code. I'm going to always choose the npm if it's available. The other ways are a little bit limiting in that you have to be online for this one to work, the CDN, and downloading is just more difficulty than it's worth. npm is the way to go. So back over here in my code, I will open up the terminal again and type in npm. I'm just getting this straight from the website. npm install plotly.js/dist. All right, so I'll let that install, and that will show up then in my package.json file. Let's make this smaller. So now I have a dependencies that has the plotly.js. I'm not sure what that install is there for. Let me take a look. Oh, it's because I put install twice. That's weird. I'm going to remove that because I don't know what that is. That's weird. Oh well, I'm not going to worry about it. Install. Okay, so plotly.js has been installed. It is up here in the node modules folder too. I can search for plotly, PLO. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so this is the place that all the code will come from. All right, let's see what is next to do. Start plotting. So I need to make a div with an ID of whatever I want, and then I could give it a style. I'm going to not use the style for now and just see how that works. So let's go over to VS Code again, close the package.json, and open up the index.html and find a space, get rid of all this stuff, and do, I think there's a, I forget how to do this, but there's a, there we go. So div ID, I just typed in the word tester with a hashtag on it, and I get a div with an ID of that. I'm not gonna use tester, I'm gonna use chart. There we go. So that is the place that it will be stored. That's the place that the JavaScript will render that code. All right, so now let's go to the index.js and see what we can do here. Now the code tells me that I want to put in a script tag. This is because it's in the HTML. So the script tag belongs in the HTML. Because I'm in the index.js file, I'm not going to use that. I am going to use this approximately. I'll just have this off to the side. You won't be able to see it, but I will type in at least some of it. So let's go to that. First of all, I need to import the plot library. See if this works. It doesn't actually give me good directions on how to import it, but I think that's the way. And the reason I know that I need to import Plotly is because right here, it's telling me once we get a variable with the div, we need to use the Plotly library right here, and we need to use a function in that called new plots. So that's what that is. Plotly is the name of the library. A function inside of that is called new plot. So let's do that. Const, I'm going to use const instead of, well, they're using nothing, which is not good. Const chart div equals document.getElementById chart. Okay, by the way, I'm using GitHub Copilot to help me with this. I think that's, when I'm doing my coding, I'm certainly using that. And then I'll just start this plotly.new plots. I'm going to tell it what div, chart div, or what variable. And I'm going to give it an array, apparently, of options. So the first one is, well, now I'm going to just copy straight from this. And actually, there we go. I'm going to remove the type because it should be fine. So let's see what this does. All right. So I don't know. This looks okay. I'll start it up, and then we'll go over to FileMaker. I'm going to open up that file in FileMaker. One sec. Let me do something here. I got to rearrange things. There we go. All right. Plotly. Let's try this. Nope, it can't find Plotly.js. So let's see here. That is in the node modules folder. I think it's because of the dist. Plotly.js dash dist. I'm going to try that. All right. Okay, so I'm trying to import it from there. That doesn't work. I don't know why they make it so hard to do this. Here's the module. Here's the function. Maybe it is slash. Come on, where is it? You know where it is. Let's try this again. Import plotly. See if it knows where it's at. Nope. Come on, pick it up. Pick it up. Let's try this. Import. Normally, plotly. It'll help me find it, but it's not helping me find it today. Oh, here it is. Okay, import plotly from plotly.jsdist. All right, so let's try that. Oh, it gave me, in the README, it gave me what I needed to do. So let's try that. All right, I think we're getting some, oh, come on. Wait, it's not, I've got an issue. It's saving. I don't know what's going on. So, gotta wait for this. While we're waiting, let me take this opportunity to tell you all about the JSN FM course. The JSN FM course that I have in the JSN FM community is the most complete course, over 7 hours, 120 lessons of content that talk to you about using JavaScript and FileMaker the most efficiently and the most effectively. Other than the 7 hours that it takes to go through the course, you probably don't have a whole lot of time to wrestle with using JavaScript in FileMaker. So I'm providing you the best way to do it. In the course, we talk a little bit about the JavaScript basics. We talk about how JavaScript libraries work. We talk about the patterns of JavaScript, getting data into the web viewer from FileMaker, getting data out of the web viewer into FileMaker. And we talk about manipulating data. And finally, we talk about manipulating what's inside of the web viewer, the DOM, the HTML. So I would highly recommend that you take a look at that course and you examine it and see if it's right for you. It will be if you're a FileMaker developer that is using JavaScript or wants to use JavaScript to build widgets for your custom apps. So check it out. There's a link down below. There's 2 versions of it. One is a full price version, which comes with the entire course that you can do at your own pace. And it comes also with up to 2 hours of coaching with me after you finish the course to implement what you have learned into your real app. There's another version that's a subscription based, and it's $60 a month that you can pay and then have access to different parts of the course over that time. So check it out, look at the links below, see if it's right for you. And again, everything that I'm doing here comes from the course. I'm just going to go through it a little bit faster. All right, let's see if the index.js is done. Doesn't look like it is. I don't know what happened, so I'm going to quit that. See if it'll let me quit. All right, let's try this again. Let's open that again. I've never seen that before. It happens sometimes. Okay, so what did it tell me? I don't think I need this. npm start. Now we're back up and running, I think. Okay, it's trying to build. There we go. We're close. There we go. Okay, so now it seems to be working. And there we go. So now we have a chart that displays these two pieces of data. I'm not a fan of the data structure of this, but it works. I wonder if I could add, I don't know, I'm just guessing here because oh yeah, that worked. Okay. So in this case, I'm adding a chart, and it looks like what I can do is say apples, peaches. I always use these pears. All right, that looks good. Okay, so it's not so bad. It's not my favorite form of the data, but this works. So these are the options. Apparently there's an X option, which is an array of the items from left to right. And then there's a Y option with corresponding numbers. So very good. All right, well, I've got it going. Let's take a look now at the documentation, see if we can, I'm gonna do two things before I leave here. Three things. I'm gonna push data in, I'm gonna put data out, and then I'm going to deploy it to FileMaker. Okay, so let's see. Figure reference. I'm trying to figure out, I don't know what that is. Feels like this chart library is a little bit, I don't know what all this stuff is. Okay, so these are all the, okay, I'm getting, okay, quick reference. Configuration options. This is what I was looking for. All right, so I'm just gonna look through this and see if I can find some options that would be interesting to me. I wanna add a click. See if I can add a click. Editable mode, that's interesting. I can make it editable? How would I do that? I wonder. Oh, that's making a static chart. Okay, so it's giving me a bunch of options. It's showing me the options. It looks like, oh, okay. So here's what here's what's happening. The plotly.newPlot is the function. It asks for the first parameter of this, the first, I guess, argument to be more specific, is my div. So that's the name of the div. The data comes from the data. It looks like this trace1 object is an entire data set. And it includes the XY, the mode, and the marker size. Then I need I could put it into a layout that defines the layout, gives options for the layout, and then finally some other options. Let's look at this one. So it looks like you could get trace. Trace must be like data series here. Yeah, these are data series, so that's interesting. I'm looking for the click. That's interesting. It's got a. All right, what do I need to do? I need to do a click. So I'm going to just search for click events. How to bind callback functions to click events. Here we go. So click event data, binding to click events. So I'm trying to find. Oh, here it is. So we have to add this function after the fact. What we're doing here is we're identifying the div where the chart will be located. Then we're setting some information, and then we're going to do a click here event that will run a function. So let's just try this and see. Let's go over here. There we go. There we go. Do that. All right. So we've got the plotly, the chart div. That's the name of my div. So I'm gonna write that. I'm gonna say chart div dot on. I'm a little concerned about this because on is part of jQuery. Let's just see what happens. It worked. So on must be also part of the library itself, the JavaScript library itself. So there's the object. That's everything about the chart. And I've got a points array that contains a bunch of information, but it tells me that I clicked on the X, which is peaches. Is that what I clicked on? So if I click on pears, I'm going to get, here's all my data, but I clicked on pears. Okay, so points.label, let's see if I can do that. So I'm gonna, over here in the JavaScript, I'm gonna write console.log data.points0.x. That's the label that I clicked on. So let's run that and see. I'm going to reload it because I added some new JavaScript. Click on that, I get apples. Click on that, I get peaches. Click on that, I get pears. Okay, good. So this is good because it gives me the chance to be able to send that data back to FileMaker. I'm kind of doing this a little bit backwards, but that's okay. I hope it's okay that I'm passing data in back before I pass data in. So let's just put that into a variable. Const x, choose x equals data points, data.points, the first index, and or 0 index, and then x. And then I'll say FileMaker.perform script, retrieve data. I'll say retrieve click. I never know the name of my scripts, and I'll say choose x. All right, go over to FileMaker and write a script called retrieve click, and I'll say set variable param get script parameter and show custom dialog param. All right, let's see if this works. So I'll load it. I'll click on this. And there we go. I'm getting peaches. Click on this. Pears. Great. So now I'm able to send data back to FileMaker. I'm able to tell FileMaker which bar they clicked on, so that they are able to then use that, in a find. But that's getting data back. Let's now get data in. So getting data in means we have to restructure this just a little bit differently, and I'm going to do that here. Getting data in means that we take all of this, especially this first part right here, and we wrap it in a function. We'll say const load chart equals, I create an arrow function that contains all of that. Now this load chart function will be called from FileMaker, and FileMaker is going to pass in some data. Actually, I'm going to use the variable JSON. Okay. Whenever data gets passed in from FileMaker, it's a string, and that's not good enough. So we need to turn it into a JavaScript object. Const obj equals JSON dot parse JSON. So the variable comes in, it gets parsed, turns into a new variable, and then we can say const data equals object dot data. And then this variable will be used instead of this, we're going to pass it in data. Okay. Now, what I had just copied, we're going to send over to FileMaker for just some work. So in my FileMaker file, I have a script called getData, and normally I would use this script to go fetch data from anywhere and then structure that data to be ready for the chart. But in this case, I'm just going to use what I had first put in there, and I'm going to stick that into a variable. Now, this is a little bit messy. It's not quite JSON because JSON needs strings, quoted properties, but I think this will work. I'm going to remove this comma just to be sure. All right. So now the process that I have is the load widget script runs, which is what has been on that button, and it goes and fetches the data here on around line 23 and sets it into a variable. This is an array. Sorry, it is an array. So that'll work. So let's just test this out and see how that works. So it goes and fetches the data. It exits here, and then it takes the data and puts it into a JSON variable. Let's just check. That looks good. Oh wait, no, that's not the right one. I want JSON. So there's my JSON. You can see that it just contains everything that is necessary for that series of data. All right, good. So now that should come in. Actually, this should probably just work. So let's run it. The only thing we need to do now is, actually, it's not ready to run because we need to get JavaScript to put that function where FileMaker can reach it. So I'm going to put that on the window. I'm going to say window.loadChart equals new chart, or load chart. All right, that just will put the function on line 3 up onto the window into a variable of the same name. Then we go back over to FileMaker, and we write the script, set up the load widget script to run this function called load chart. Okay. So now this should be able to run, find that function, and there we go. Very nice. So let's just make sure that this is correct. I'm going to go change the data from 2 apples to 12 apples, and let's just see if that works. There we go. Great. So now I'm able to get data in. I'm able to get data out by clicking on something. Am I? Something happened. Oh, you know what? I can't find the chart div variable. That's easy enough of a fix. The reason it can't find this is the click can't find a variable, where is it? Chart div here, because chart div has been declared inside of this function here, and those functions can't share divs by normally. So what I'll do is I'll put this at the top, chart div. I'll just declare it, and then I'll say chart div equals, and there we go. So now this is declared outside of this function, but it's set in the chart is rendered and put inside of that function, and then this out here can access the value. So let's see. Let's go over to FileMaker. There we go. Nope, still getting an error. Did I load it again? Yeah, I'm still getting an error. Let's see what's happening. Interesting. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try something different. And there's a couple options here in case it's still not working. I'm going to do this. Const chart equals, or I'll do this. What am I trying to do? I'll say let chart. Then I'll go back to putting that in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the chart inside of this variable right here. So that now let's see if this works. No, I can't find it. It still is having trouble finding it. I'll show you. It still is having trouble finding it. And so the problem is that this chart div function variable can't be seen. So to make it seen, I'm just going to put all of this stuff right here inside of the curly brace. So now it's inside of that main function that is the load chart that renders everything. All right, let's try this. Look over here, load it, boom, there we go. Okay, so now we're back in business. So now, very good, so very good. All right, so we can, let's see, we did three things. We set up the chart, so that's one thing. We put data into it from FileMaker, and we set it up so to send data back from the JavaScript into FileMaker. Now I'm going to deploy it so that it is ready to be used outside of this dev environment. All right, let's go to that. Here's my code. I'm going to stop the server from running, Control C, and type in a new command, npm run deploy to FM, and that'll bundle up all this code, send it over to FileMaker in one file so that it can be placed into one field. There we go. It tells me that the Plotly.js widget has been added. We can see that here. Here's all my code. And now, JS Dev, if I can turn off or quit VS Code, turn off dev mode, and now let's see. Oops, turn off dev mode, and now run it. Can't find it. I always mess this up. That's the name of the widget. Okay, so last thing I have to do is change this to Plotly.js, because that's the name of the widget that is being used here. All right, so let's run this again. There we go. So now it all works just like normal. All right, so that is how I do my work. And obviously the client would want a lot more features and a lot more configuration. Perfectly fine. All of that is pretty incidental now that I have the basics set up. I have the repository, I have the widget set up. I can pass data in, I can pass data out, I can deploy it, and yeah, it's just now continue development. This is what I do every day, and this is what you can do with your widgets as well. I encourage you to watch this video 100 times, pick up on what I'm doing. I do that all the time in other people's videos, but also consider the JSN FM course. It is designed specifically to teach you everything you need to know here. All right, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. That was easy. Now I'm ready to configure it and make it work for my client. Thank you very much. Talk to you later.